Hey everyone, we're back for our second installment of Riffs and Rants.
Riffs and Rants, yo.
Yeah, we've gotten some great feedback from the first one, so thank you if you've listened and tuned in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, nothing else to do with an hour, but listen to us rant about music.
We had fun, so glad you did too. Yeah, we're really excited to do this next one, which comes out of a parallel experience we have. So in introducing the podcast, we talked about how both of us spend our workday talking with people that don't always have the language for music. And
what do you do, by the way?
What do I do? I'm a hospice music therapist. That's my day job. Then I'm also a singer-songwriter. And what do you do again?
I own a record store. It's called Forever Changes here in Phoenixville, PA.
I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
Cool.
A
little something.
Yeah. So the way this conversation shows up in my work is I'm meeting a new patient. Sometimes they can tell me what music they like. Other times I'm asking a loved one, a relative, and someone says, oh, they like Motown. And Motown is kind of an umbrella term, I've learned. It's not just what was on the Motown label. It's just like anything
soul.
Anything
Black.
Soul from I mean, I've even heard it used to describe like the 50s,
really?
60s. Yeah, just like it's such, I feel like it's such a misunderstood label, or misused label, I guess. So how
or term at this point. I mean, it's
definitely.
Yeah.
So
when you said label, I was thinking record label.
No, I meant we're on the same page. Yeah. So how does it show up for you?
Yeah, same. I'll have someone come in and they'll be like, "Hey, do you have any Motown?" And there's a section in my shop where it's all the things on the Motown label.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "But what about Otis Redding? Do you have any Aretha Franklin?" I'm like, "That's not Motown." And even not to call anyone out, but a local nonprofit, they were having a event and they wanted, it was Motown themed.
Mm-hmm.
And, they wanted some album covers and just some things that I had, to decorate their window. And, I'm kind of going through what I have, and they're like, "Oh, what about that?" I'm like, "That's not Motown."
Mm-hmm.
And so, we both get that, where people just think anything. That's interesting you said the 50, because I what I hear it is is that people, anything black and soulful, people think is Motown. And so you even get like, what, doo-wop and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was going to say like Sam Cooke, like just like, oh yeah, Sam Cooke, Motown, just like,
No.
I don't think that's right. So the hope today is to sort of break down, classic soul, I guess. And it's not just Motown, but who were the other big players, and then where did soul evolve from, and why is Motown the label that so many people are the most familiar with? So
I'm so excited for this.
Me too.
Because one of the neat things, like I love soul music. I love classic soul music. Being very honest, not that I wasn't into neo soul. It was like in the 90s, like my energy and my sonic energy was split so many different ways that I wasn't able to give neo soul like the attention that it deserved.
That makes a lot of sense.
But you were a pretty big fan, and so I guess.
I mean, my brother Donnie was the gateway, which we haven't introduced ourselves.
Oh my god.
No, we did another take where we said who we were, but not this one. So I'm Anna Spackman. I'm a hospice music therapist and singer-songwriter. Yeah. And who are you?
I'm Shawn Cephas, and I own Forever Changes Vinyl Lounge in Phoenixville, PA.
Yeah.
So I've liked soul, just from its inception. I don't know even though you can even say that there's an inception of soul. It's just like it just once we got here, once we were brought here, soul existed.
Yeah.
But it's continuation up until present day. And where you have artists like Ray and things like that, where it's like, and Olivia Dean, who's huge.
We'll
right
get there.
now.
We'll get there.
I know.
We'll
but just
yes.
that soul isn't it's not just the past, it's an ongoing. Yes. But anything that lasts as long as it has an amazing foundation. And so, one of the things that we're going to get to and talk about is these different record labels that were kind of that nurtured soul music. And that's one reason why the Motown thing bothers me, is that they all had such a unique and distinct sound. It's like, you really think Otis Redding is Otis Redding and Smokey Robinson sound the same?
I'm so excited to hear you talk about that.
Are you kidding me? Like,
yeah.
it just bothers me. It's like,
Yeah.
listen. And so, so I can't talk about Motown, without also at the same time discussing the music that was on the Atlantic Records label.
Okay.
And, one of a small label that was distributed by Atlantic Records was the Stax-Volt label. STAX and hyphen VOLT. Volt was a sister label. And so Motown started in '59, I believe. And this is going to get real academic, and I apologize, but there's a lot to this, and it's important. And,
it is important, yeah.
Yeah, and Stax started in '61, but Atlantic had been around for a while. And so I'm just going to throw some information, throw some names out at you. And actually, since we couldn't do it last time because we were talking jazz, but I think this might be a time we can sing, since we can't use the actual music.
Oh, yeah.
We might do, just to remind people of some of these songs,
Sure.
we can bust out some tunes.
All right.
Just
finding out about this now.
Sorry, on the spot. You're a music therapist. Just to put names out there, when you think of Atlantic Records and the soul music on Atlantic, we're talking Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin, things like that. Stax specifically had artists like Sam and Dave, Booker T and the MGs, Wilson Pickett, things like that. When we jump to Motown, those are acts like the Supremes, Smokey Robinson, Temptations, the original Jackson 5. Once they became the Jacksons, they weren't on Motown. I'm missing some. Marvin Gaye, the Marvelettes, Mary Wells. I feel like I'm still missing some.
Yeah, maybe we can put in the description because it's an extensive
the Contours,
list.
Anyway, and while these two labels in the '60s were super important, there were some huge R&B acts and soul acts that weren't on either of these labels, and so like James Brown was on the King label. Which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he bought from the guy that owned King, and I can't remember, but eventually, his face was literally on the label.
Wow.
And Polydor, I think was he went to Polydor, and it was it was James Brown, whatever, and Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke. I forgot what label he was on, but it wasn't on either one of those. And then there's. We'll get there, but then there's acts like Sly and Family Stone that just is a whole its own other thing. But so sonically, as I've named who's on.
Well,
sorry.
No, it's okay. But for the average person, I had to ask Shawn this before we started recording. Where were each one of these located?
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So Motown was based in Detroit, and the Stax label and their studio was in
Memphis. Is that what you told me?
Yes. But the Atlantic label was a major label based out of New York. They had studios in New York. But the key, if you want to get kind of specific, Stax was Southern, and Motown being Detroit, more urban. And that, to me, that's in where you get the key difference in their sound. And one thing that's really interesting about Stax also, and I'm kind of, Stax and Atlantic I kind of use interchangeably because Atlantic was the distributor for Stax. And so if you see an Atlantic soul compilation, you'll see Stax artists on there.
And sonically, we'll get there.
Yeah, no, and they were very similar. Yeah,
gotcha.
And same musicians, whatever. But with the Atlantic and Stax stuff, it was very integrated. The house band was Booker T and the MGs, and Steve Cropper, who recently passed away, R.I.P., was a white guy, and Donald Duck Dunn, the bass player for most of these recordings,
it's a great
was
nickname,
right?
Donald Duck Dunn,
right? Yeah, was a white guy, and Greg Allman played on a lot of the records and Aretha Franklin stuff, whatever. And it's just that I'm not from the South, but from what people have told me, it's there's just I don't know how to put it, but culturally, black and white doesn't exist. I mean, obviously, it's the South, but it's you'll find a blonde-haired white boy who's got the most soul you ever heard in your entire life.
I wonder if it's there's so much more proximity you know,
That's
to
probably
like
it. Yeah.
just, I could see, even if socially everyone wasn't like, you know, legally integrated, I could just see like, you know, the music bleeding over more so than
That
other
makes a lot of
places.
sense. That's where you get like country
Yeah.
and gospel and it's all. And so the kind of sonic cues to the difference in the Atlantic Stax stuff and Motown is the stuff on Atlantic was very raw. It was you know, it was bass, drums, guitar, organ, and a horn section, and that's it. You know, I don't know for sure, but it feels very one take. It feels very just like it happens kind of thing.
Yeah, there's like an immediacy.
Yes,
like,
yeah. Arrangements, you don't hear arrangements. It's just blues. It is just straight up, you know, blues progression. You know, there's no, you know, complex sort of thing, and which brings us to Motown, which their signifying thing was, to me, is arrangements.
Yeah, totally. So like, if you know, you're like trying to remember who's on which label. So Ray Charles was
on Atlantic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like compare like a Ray Charles, you know, I Got a Woman, Wherever Town, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Compare the sound of that to
Say Smokey Robinson, Miracles,
yes.
with
yes.
There's a freaking, is that an oboe?
Yeah.
That really low, is that an oboe or is that a?
I don't know.
There's, if you listen to that intro, yeah, that sound, yes.
Yes. Okay, so yeah.
There's all that I love listening to Motown stuff and be like, what is that instrument?
Yeah. If you're asking what is that instrument, it might be Motown.
Exactly, it's true. Yeah, if you're like, oh, that organ's smoking, it's Atlantic.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah.
you're like, is that a triangle? It's like, yeah, it's Motown.
Yeah.
Yeah, like after this whole thing, we might need to go back and listen to it because, like, yeah, specifically "Tears of a Clown." That I'm like, what is in that song?
Yeah,
and yeah. So the arrangement for "Ain't No Mountain High Enough." Like,
yeah, definitely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm trying to think of Temptations.
I mean, plenty of Temptation songs.
Yeah. I mean, My Girl has that whole, you know, the bridge with the strings and the yeah.
What is we're going off topic, but I just got to rain some love on Motown because I know I have friends that like love the Atlantic and Stax stuff, and that really did influence a lot of the sort of white, like British, like kind of that like around the punk era of like Elvis Costello and the power pop type stuff. Yeah, very influential with that. So a lot of people like lean that way, but like and with Motown, it was such a machine that it feels kind of non-organic, but it's just like,
yeah, it's very polished,
so good.
Yeah.
And like with the Temptations, there's certain, because you have to sing some of this, and some of their songs, it's like,
oh my gosh,
the cadences. I'm like, was that riffed?
I swear, just my imagination. Yes. The bridge of that song took me forever to learn. Like, it just, because it's not repeating anywhere. It's just very, but like it's delivered in such a soulful, tender way. It's like someone talking to you, but like it's very specific. And
it's like how that had to have been just riffing. There's no way that was arranged.
Yeah, and that's another group that or another song I should say, because most of that song is just two alternating chords. Like the song really is in the arrangement, the bass line, like the strings, the harmonies, like it's just, it's amazing what they can do with those two chords. Like it just so much sprang out of that. And it's the
so rich.
Now this is also a tangent, but like, was there a specific arranger or arrangers?
They had arrangers. I can't name any by name right now, but like so that was one thing with Motown was they had writers, they had arrangers, they had like vocal coaches, like you literally, you know, where like, you know, Atlantic, like I've there's a documentary on Muscle Shoals, the studio, and you know, some of like the biopic, not the movie one, but the TV biopic of Aretha, I actually think was a better one. I know the family didn't like that one, but you know, you see these things of like them just walking in and just like counting off, and that's the song.
Turn on the mic and go.
Yeah, and it sounds that way. You know, it sounds that immediate. But like, you know, Motown records were labored over.
Yes.
And you know, it's like however you wanna, wherever you land in music, it's like, oh, that's too, kind of like the Steely Dan thing, where like this stuff's too labored over, and people are like, oh, it's not organic kind of thing. And for me, it's like, yeah, it's cool to have a 1, 2, 3 and just like do it. But then when something is so every detail, every T is crossed, every I, it's like, oh my
just
god,
keeps hitting the spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you think these were like 2.5 minute long songs.
Yeah, I know they're so short.
Yes, for kids. I mean, they were for kids.
Right.
And it's like,
at least the Jackson
5, yeah. But I mean, even the Smokey and all that stuff was like that was for teenagers.
That's so interesting.
That was dance music. I was like, you go to the. You go to the dance and you pop it on the turntable or the record player and, everyone's doing their little thing and it's like, oh my God, that much effort.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you pointed that out, like just out of the context of like, this is music for like teenagers because it really does make you appreciate the complexity of it. And also, in my world, I mostly work with older adults and to see what this music means to them, to see how it, like, there's one guy I work with who, like, he's an African-American gentleman, and, like, as soon as, like, he hears it start, he's just, like, the dancing just, like, comes through him. It's really special. And it, last episode, I kind of talked about how the music we hear in our teenage and young adult years, like, that's music that we really emotionally connect to in a very unique way, and a lot of our identity is part of that. So seeing folks that were hearing this music as teenagers, is really, really special.
And even there's I don't think they've used this group before, but one of the nonprofits in Phoenixville for 2 years they had a concert, and the band was a Motown cover band. And just watching folks react to this music. Oh
yeah, it just, like, you just see the magic in people's faces. People get up and dance, singing along. Like, it just, it's really beautiful.
It's amazing. And as an African American, what's really neat is, like, when your music is that cared for.
Yes.
So it's not just like, just shove it out. That's good enough kind of thing. When someone takes, takes the time to perfect something so much, and it just really feels like, thanks, our music is this important.
It's our music is deserving of being elevated to this extent.
No, so that's cool. And then so a couple of things about Motown. They literally had a like a dance teacher. They had a sort of what's that word for, like the like a finishing type person to, like, make sure.
Oh, I don't know what that job is.
Like the sort of, like, make sure you're walking properly.
Oh my gosh, that's so. It feels like not quite PR, but sort of like that, or just
what's that word for, like, like, I think girls used to go to this one.
It makes me think of finishing school.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I never knew that. That's wild.
But, like, Barry Gordy wanted this music to cross over.
And I think that's got to be why why so many people on the team making this happen. It's like it sounds like there's an understanding of, like, this music is going to be so scrutinized, and just like on every level it has to just be exceptional.
Exactly.
And the performers have to be exceptional.
And in some ways, there's to the detriment. Like one of my favorite Motown groups that I couldn't think of earlier, but I'm staring at you and I'm like, I'm gonna get it. But Marvin and Vandellas. Yeah. And they were incredible. Like Quicksand, Heat Wave,
Dancing in the Street.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, if you look at them, they are, like, I'm trying to forget the most, like, they are just some black women kind of thing. They are just, they look, and I feel like, I don't know for sure if Barry Gordy, like, veered away from them, but when you look at the Supremes,
I was just thinking that
they're so polished.
Yeah, there's a
and
sheen.
So, and, so it's like, Martha Reeves could sing. They were amazing. But it's like, you just look at, Diana Ross, and, I think of them on the, that concert, it was filmed just with the Rolling Stones and the Beach Boys, the Tammi show, TMI, and TAMI, sorry. And, like, they're so poised, and and they're doing it, Baby Love, and, like, but they're just, like, tapping their feet so gently and nicely, and it's like, that is ready for white America. Yeah,
and I'm sitting here listening to that, being like, that's so unfair. To have to just so much that's not even about the music that has to hit a certain note, but zooming out, what was happening during that time?
It was civil rights.
Right. Yeah. So, like, Yeah, I don't know. Can you talk about
No,
that a
it's a
little bit?
frustrating double-edged sword because it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, you know, and it's a shame. Like, I'm just, you know, as an African American
Mm-hmm.
man kind of thing, and I don't know how you're receiving this, but like, literally, you look at Martha Reason Vandellas, Martha Vandellas, and it's like, there's there is no polish to them,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, as a music fan, as a, you know, I don't need that.
Sure.
Like, I just,
Yeah.
you belt and you're kicking me, whatever, you know. But you know, it's to get into the homes of, you know, America in the '60s, and it's like, when I say just, oh, even now, like,
Yeah.
you've got to look a certain way.
Yeah.
And you know, it's so frustrating because it's like, you know, with those choices did help this music get into
Right.
the hands of a lot of young people that, you know, it probably wouldn't be in the hands of, but, you know, like, you know, Marvin Gaye was like very light skinned and just so fucking handsome, and just like, you know, just these acts could easily cross over.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say easily, but like, yeah,
There was more of a path for them
Yeah.
because of the white people's mentality, and just, you know, like, this person is like, look, they're so well dressed, they're so put together, they're safe, they're polite, there's so much wrapped up in that.
Yeah. And so, you know, it's, you know, and I know, if you want to go down the rabbit hole of Motown, a lot of scandal, a lot of, you know, Berry Gordy was not the perfect human being, and there's a lot of stuff with Motown, but strictly musically, it's magnificent.
Yeah.
Oh, with that, so if you are buying Motown records and you start seeing other labels on the record and you get confused, Motown started as a company called Tamla. That was, I think, 57. That was before. So,
okay.
the Miracles were on Tamla.
Oh wow. So Smokey Robinson really has been there since the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
He was one of the main songwriters.
That's so wild.
Yeah, there's a Temptations album that is kind of deceptive. It's called The Temptations Sing Smokey Robinson, but it's all the songs, you know. It's
that's crazy.
What's the big My Girl? Yeah, it's like, it's all these, you know, because I've had people, I have it in my store, and folks are like, and I'm like, no, it's not like they're covering Smokey songs. Like, he wrote these for them, and no, Smokey was.
I forgot
OG.
he was like a songwriter. Yeah.
And so then we can't. I'm leaning on Motown still because around 65 or 66, they had this 11-year-old. I think he was 11 or 12.
Oh yeah.
Genius that could play nearly every instrument. And I love, it's so funny because this is a little like Motown lore that eventually in the 80s comes back to be kind of an important thing with the We Are the World sessions. But so this person I'm talking about is Stevie Wonder. And I forgot where I read this, or even it might have been an interview with Smokey or someone, but little Stevie, this little kid had this weird sort of thing he could do, this trick, this parlor trick, where he could imitate every single person on the Motown label. Where that ends up in the 80s is
taking a detour.
Yes, but just going on a Stevie rant, because I worship Stevie Wonder. If you ever see the documentary about the We Are the World sessions, which you should,
The Greatest Night in Pop on Netflix.
I think so.
Yeah.
My God, what an incredible documentary!
It's so good.
Yeah. But there's a moment where they talk about that Dylan didn't understand what he was supposed to do, because he's like, this is not, you know, what I do. And Stevie basically sang to Dylan doing the song. Like, he literally sang his voice to him of what to do.
Like, this is how Bob Dylan would sing his verse of We Are the World.
And I was like, and we saw that, I'm like, oh, I know he has that skill, because like, he used to, So anyway, so this child genius Stevie Wonder comes in, and then another child genius in, I think, 69 of Michael Jackson, his brothers come in. And that's the part that blows my mind. If you listen to those early Jackson 5 songs, the arrangements.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You know, like, and probably kids would have been happy with less.
But
I think it's what makes them hold up so well over time. It just, like, musically, there's so much to pay attention to.
You put on I Want You Back right now at ABC, and no matter what age, the whole place is losing their mind.
Yeah, and singing along with, like, the, you know, the bass part or the riffs or
And it's just like, you just listen back, and it's like, in one breath, as a music fan, you're like, wow, this is an amazing song. And then my sisters, they were the little teeny boppers that were buying this stuff. And it's like, I have to remember, it's like my sisters who are in their 60s now, like they were the teenagers.
Yeah, my mom had a Jackson 5 lunchbox.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so great.
Yeah, and it's like, you could have done anything for these kids, but it's like, and anyway.
Sorry. No, it's okay. I love, just there's many tangents to take when you're talking about this stuff.
Yeah, so before we get too tangenty, whatever, I think we already have though. So in 71, another important soul label came on the scene, and it was based in Philadelphia, and it was called Philadelphia International Records. I'm so used to shortening it to Philly International, but Philadelphia International Records, by two guys named Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff. And the uniqueness of that label was, I think the way people have said it is like it was Motown, or it was soul with a tuxedo, where like, these lush strings and
I was wondering, because all of the groups were very well dressed,
right, but
tuxedo,
sonically,
I see. Okay.
And so to give you an idea, and this one bugs me because Philadelphia International Records, I need to stop shortening it, because if you Google, I don't think Philly International will bring up. I think you need Philadelphia International Records.
Good to know.
It's just so, it was literally the soundtrack of my childhood. And when I realized that people like my age even and older don't know what Philadelphia International Records is, it drives me kind of nuts. And so some of the artists and songs would be the OJs, and the songs like Love Train, and for the love of money. That what's the riff? Money.
Yes, right. So distinctive.
Yeah. You have Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, which the name is deceptive because their lead singer was Teddy Pendergrass. And, from there you get songs like, I love Wake Up Everybody, but I don't think a lot of people know that one. But what's the, they had a really, really big one. If you don't know me by now.
I always forget they did the original.
You will never. Yeah. Bad Luck. OJ's, Harold Melvin, Billy Paul, me and Mrs. Joe. That song.
Amazing.
Even though they kind of predate Philly International, they were on a label called, I think, Philly Soul. That was also Gamble and Huff, the Stylistics, and the Delphonics.
Yeah.
So they were Philly bands. They were never officially on. I think the Stylistics eventually were on Philly International, but they were, I forgot the label, but they were on labels that predate Philly International, but still recorded. So here's an important thing. The Philly International groups recorded in a studio in Philly called Sigma Sound. And kind of like, so all these labels had their studio. So like Motown had, it was called the Snake Pit, the Motown studio. Those Atlantic recorded in New York, but Stax, their studio was in Muscle Shoals, and Sigma was the Philly studio, and they had their like house bands. And what was neat with the Philly groups is, or Sigma, was their orchestra was Philadelphia Orchestra.
Wow.
And I had to have someone explain this to me, because if you look at the back of those of the records, you see, names, whatever, but all of a sudden you start seeing some seriously Italian, like, Vito Petrosani and kind of thing, and I'm like, and violin and stuff, and I'm like, who's he? And someone told me it's like literally it was Philadelphia Orchestra guys that would come in, and
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But yeah, it makes sense for like Rubber Band Man, was that?
Yes, Spinners.
Yeah.
So
okay, yeah.
And so the Spinners, like, they weren't, I don't think they technically were Philly International, but they recorded at Sigma and used the same, Tom Bell, the same arrangers and songwriters, because they were from Detroit.
Oh,
and
interesting.
yeah, that's a weird thing where in England they were called the Detroit Spinners, because there was already a group in England called the Spinners.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I actually,
that's so funny.
In digging, I found a UK press of a Spinners record, and it's by the Detroit Spinners.
Wow.
I'm like, I've always wanted one of these records. But yeah, even though they're not from Philly, they've got that sound.
Yeah.
So Mighty Love, yeah, Rubber Band Man, gosh, a couple others. Oh, Ghetto Child.
Oh yeah.
Great song. Yeah, that staccato kind of thing. Oh my gosh.
That's a perfect example of like how do you remember this cadence?
Yes.
With
yeah.
them especially. Yeah.
But yeah, another group. Again, not the label Philly International, but Sigma and the whole Philly scene was I think I said Stylistics already.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, one of the, with any, I think even more so than Motown, Philly International groups, like the singing was just like the sweetest. Like these guys had the most incredible, a lot of falsetto. Teddy did have that growl kind of thing, but just those vocals and those just these male harmonies were just incredible, whatever. And so I guess there's with Motown vocally, like each group had such a distinct sound. And like you can't you listen to a Smokey song and you know exactly, there's no way it's like, is that Marvin, is that, like, no. And not that the Philly groups didn't have a distinct, like, each group, but there was a kind of a similarity in, they all just had a very kind of sweet, almost like doo-woppy type of street corner kind of vocal soul kind of thing. Yeah. And so anyway, that was a tangent.
No, I mean, we're getting acquainted with like the labels to be mindful of, and Philadelphia International is definitely one of those. So setting that one apart sonically, the strings.
So a quick aside about Philly International and Sigma is, I think it was 74, maybe 74, where an up and coming British rocker who, visionary, way ahead of his time, like was intrigued and just obsessed with this Philly sound, and he wanted his next project to be recorded at Sigma, and it was David Bowie. So he went to Sigma and recorded the Young Americans record, which a whole other, not going to take that detour, but a young Luther Vandross, who was a backup singer, and like, Bowie just recognized, like, dude, you can write. And actually it was Luther had a song, which I'm forgetting the name right now, on one of his own records that Bowie wanted to cover, but I think because of like the lyrics, he felt as like a white kid, he just didn't make sense to him, so it became Fame.
Interesting. Oh,
Yeah. And so another documentary to check out, the Luther Vandross documentary, Never Too Much, unbelievable. But yeah, going way off the side, but so Motown, Atlantic, with subsidiary, Stax is a subsidiary kind of thing. Philly International, 3 major soul labels with 3 very distinct, unique sounds. And then we'll talk about some of the artists that weren't on any of these that were equally important.
Yes.
So like we said, Sam Cooke, James Brown, Aretha was on Atlantic. The classic, so we won't get into the whole Aretha thing, but like the early part of her career, she was on Columbia Records, and they kind of had her as like a jazz kind of thing.
Oh, interesting.
And but then she went to Atlantic, and they let her cut loose, and that's when the Aretha we know happened.
Yeah.
It was a whole thing of nurturing the artist.
Yeah.
Where on Columbia, and no shade to John Hammond, I think, was the guy at Columbia. He discovered Dylan. He had his pulse. Like, he clearly saw talent with Aretha, and the woman can literally sing anything. Yeah. And so having her sing like jazz standards is not crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's like, and I think no one could have realized, like, just you don't know what's in there. You can't predict respect and but yeah, with going to Atlantic and just having A&R guys that just wanted to like let these artists just do, find it here, like what's in here, and that's where that comes out.
Yeah,
and,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
So Motown and Philadelphia International were black owned, right?
Yes, okay. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, just want to make sure facts are straight. Yeah.
And then, just a total, black music comes from so many different places, and soul music, that, then you have a total outlier like Sly and the Family Stone.
Yeah, so this is a good shift because now we're getting into the 70s, like,
I mean, they were 66.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, see, this is what, like...
Yeah, but again, probably the reason, because, I mean, they were so ahead of their time.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's like, I can't believe this was coming out in the 60s. Yeah.
It's so ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And it's like, just...
Totally.
There's a movie called Summer of Soul that is another great one to check out.
Definitely.
And there's the interviews with the folks that were there in real time are so great, because you really get... It's one thing for someone like me who was born in 71 to talk about Sly and the Family Stone, but there's someone who... There's a guy who was a Motown fan, and I don't even know if he had heard Sly. He really kind of described himself as being very buttoned up, very like clean cut kind of thing. And he's in New York for this.
So what was Summer of Soul?
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
it's a film by Questlove, documenting a series of concerts that were in New York City, the summer of '69, and they led right up to Woodstock. And the only reason that that's important is these shows were recorded.
Yeah.
But because no one thought, who wants to see a bunch of performances by black artists, it was shelved for
Literally
decades.
Till 1 or 2 years ago?
No, it was more than that.
More than that? Okay.
Didn't it come out right before lockdown?
Oh, maybe.
Or over lockdown?
Yeah.
It was like somewhere between like
We should know this.
2019, 2020,
Yeah.
somewhere around lockdown. So it was shelved until Questlove put this film together. And I knew of it, and, just never thought it would ever see the light of day. But, each week had a different theme. So there's like gospel week, which, there's a moment where Mahalia Jackson, I can't even go there because I get emotional, but it's incredible. And then there was like blues week, which, B.B. King, things like that. There was jazz with Max Roach and Abbey Lincoln. And I don't know where Sly landed. I don't know what night that was or whatever. But there was one, So this one guy talks about he'd gone for David Ruffin, who had just left the Temptations.
Right.
And which even that they show some of that performance, and it's like, oh my gosh, like just that grooming and that just the perfect like tuxedo and the mic toss and the drop to the knees is like, oh my gosh. But then the whole other end of the spectrum, you have Sly and the Family Stone, who just saunter on stage like they don't have a care in the world, dressed however they want to dress, and just count off and start a song, and it's like everything that black music at the time wasn't. There was no poise. There was no. It was just. And it's the funkiest thing you've ever heard, ever. And talk about like that music is universal. Like their drummer was a white guy, and it's like you listen to that beat, and it's like, oh my god. And so it's like it's a whole other But so like I don't. I know my parents love Sly, and even Donnell, our first like non-family employee, his nickname was Sly because he kept coming to my dad's store asking when the next Sly record is coming out. It's like,
I love that they just called him Sly.
That's how I grew up. This guy's name's Sly. I was like, your name's Donnell? What? But I just love this guy coming every day. Isn't that the Sly record? It's like, do you want to work here? Like,
then you'll know.
Yeah, you're always here. But I just to. What must that have been like to hear this music and like,
oh my gosh,
is this?
And no one had put together rock, funk, soul, etc. I mean, what else would you say?
Women, like a female trumpet player, female keys, like just integrated in every possible way. And like not a woman relegated to like a backup singer. Like she was, the trumpet, she was so badass.
Her voice is incredible.
That's just that growl kind of thing, And like complete liberation. And then another end of the spectrum, we had Funkadelic, which George Clinton and his crew, and which
this is no longer at Summer of Soul.
Yeah, we're done with Summer of Soul.
This is now like where things began to evolve.
Yeah,
from
a band
that
that wouldn't have been invited to Summer of Soul.
Now, when did they first get started?
69 was I think. Yeah, I think.
I mean, just made it, but still.
Yeah,
that's
I think
so
Osmium came out in 69, if I'm not mistaken. Wow. And so the short version of their stupid trajectory was their original name was Parliament. The Parliaments became Parliament. And they put out an album called Osmium, and I'm pretty sure it's 69. And it was a crappy label deal, like record deal, and they immediately wanted to get out of the deal, and they couldn't. So they just changed their name.
Amazing.
So they changed the name to Funkadelic. Exact same dudes.
Yeah.
And then were signed to a different label.
Yep.
And put out, several more records as Funkadelic. After a lengthy, legal battle kind of thing, they got their name back, Parliament, but they had already established themselves as Funkadelic. So what do? You just be two different groups, the same dudes.
So funny.
We're two different
a side project, which
yeah.
is the exact same lineup of people.
Yeah, but totally different sound.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, so Funkadelic is just heavy, deep, it's rock.
Yeah.
It's rock played by some funky dudes, and it's murky and dark, and and Parliament is party music, and it's just horns, and it's just a flat out party, and and so that's when you hear people talk about Parliament Funkadelic, it literally, they were two groups on two different labels with two different sounds, made up with the same guys.
That's so funny. Now, are either of those labels worth mentioning?
Okay. Westbound was a small label that Funkadelic was on. They went from Invictus to Westbound. Invictus was Parliament, and to get out of the label, and then once Parliament they got their name back, they were on, was it Casablanca? I can't remember. It was one of the
And now, what about Sly?
Sly was on the Epic record label.
Okay.
Yeah, and so just
yeah,
somewhat of a major label.
Yeah, and the fact that correct me if I'm wrong, but because of the legwork from Motown, Sly could be on it just I don't know. I feel, because one of the questions I wrote down, because it was bouncing around my head, was why is it Motown that that's the legacy people remember?
So that's the point. And I think it's because, collectively, Aretha crossed over, Sly, whatever, but collectively, Motown artists were the ones that were on every AM radio.
Yeah.
Where maybe a Wilson Pickett song was a hit, or a Booker TDMG's one or two songs, but it wasn't just no matter what color you are, you had every song on Stax or every kind of thing. They really were black artists that every now and then a song would make it to the other stations, but Berry Gordy wanted these artists to cross over, and again, for better or for worse, it did. The poise and the clothing and the softness of it was nothing was very aggressive and intense on Motown.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why. And in fact, one of the big disputes that Berry Gordy had with one of his artists was when Marvin Gaye wanted to do What's Going On.
Yeah.
And Berry Gordy did not want that. And so my understanding is the story is that Berry Gordy, they had already moved their offices and their most of the label to LA, but they still had some folks back in Detroit.
Interesting. When did that happen? Curiosity.
70, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty ugly situation there because he left a lot of people behind. Those musicians that played on everything, they didn't come with him.
Oh,
and so it was almost
awful.
They hit the big time and went to LA and left.
Didn't take the people that helped them reach the big time.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, and so Marvin stayed back and recorded that single and kind of sent it to Berry Gordy here's a song. And I can't remember how that whole thing worked out because he really didn't want. I don't know if the song was already out in Detroit. I can't remember, but it was almost like he really didn't want that song to come out and didn't want the album to happen. And but Marvin Gaye opening the door to it's if you let a genius just leave him alone, they'll make a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And the next person to be allowed that was Stevie.
Wow.
And he was 20 years old.
That's so nuts.
Yeah, whatever he kind of they gave him more reign to not have the Motown machine do his create his songs, let him do his own thing. That the first album was Music of My Mind, where that was the case, and that was 1972. Or no, sorry, 71 was Where I'm Coming From. That was the first one. And I personally love that album because it was the year I was born. and it's extremely experimental. Like everyone should listen to Where I'm Coming From, but you're probably gonna be like, this is Stevie, and yeah, I think there's like one or two. I think there's one like song that became like a hit single, but he's just finding his way around this new sound.
So he's 20.
In 1971, he would have been, I think, 20 years old. Yeah.
And playing every instrument?
Yeah, in the way that he played drums, and the way he had these two, I think they're German guys that were the ones that created those keyboards where he could play like a bass on a keyboard, like all those sounds. So yeah, he made all these sounds with the keys and played drums, and yeah, he couldn't play guitar. So basically, or horn. So if you hear and like I think like hand percussion.
Gotcha.
So it is funny that when you look at a Stevie album, and it's the credits for like who's playing on it, and it's like trombone by this guy, guitar by that guy, and that's it. It's like, what about the blind 21-year-old did all that? It's like, excuse me. But yeah, so they kind of let him do his thing, and so that's when you get that streak that 71 was Where I'm Coming From. Sorry, 72 was Music of My Mind and Talking Book in the same year. Wow. Stupid, yeah. 73 was Fulfilling His First Finale.
And this is all still on Motown?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, the Tamil label. Okay. I apologize. Okay. I jumped around. Sorry. It was 71 was Where I'm Coming From. 72 Music of My Mind and Talking Book. 73 was Intervisions, and then 74 was Fulfilling His First Finale. I think that's the order. For some reason, I feel like I had those two flip-flop, but I think that's the order. And the only reason there's a year break before Songs in the Key of Life is Stevie was in a near-fatal car accident.
I thought I remembered that, which is so crazy. Like, I never heard that before you told me. Yeah. And so it took a little longer to make this 2-album masterpiece. Yeah, man, what a busy 4 years.
Yeah, the 71 crazy. Through 76.
5 years.
But again,
oh my gosh.
And then the end of the 70s, after 3 years, he did Secret Life of Plants, which a lot of people don't like. But if you're not looking for hits, if you're not looking for the Stevie bops, it is a brilliant record.
So I'm glad you made that connection, though, of like, because of how successful, I'm guessing, Marvin Gaye's kind of breakout album, not breakout in traditional sense, but you know what I mean?
No,
just
but it was like, wait, what?
Yeah, like it was so unlike anything he'd done. It was, again, not following the protocol of the Motown machine, because he was able to do that. Then that opened the door for Stevie Wonder. Yeah.
And then there's the one thing that's frustrating is there's still misogyny, because another great Motown artist recorded a concept album, Diana Ross.
Oh, that's right.
And that one was shelved because her concept album was about motherhood.
Yeah, that's so frustrating, because you introduced me to that, and there's a song off that I covered for a while. I should bring that back, but it's called Young Mothers, and it's just like, oh my gosh, this will melt your heart. It's just such a sad but hopeful song for, what will we teach our sons? What kind of world will we build for our children?
Yeah,
and it's
like beautiful.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and it was shelved because it's like no one wants to hear a woman singing about motherhood kind of thing. And but you can stream it. It's if you look for the like deluxe version of the Touch Me in the Morning album, it's the second half.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the second half of that, and so it's cool. There was innovation, but there's still like for the boys. Yeah.
Well, that also brings me to, because there are a couple examples of this where because Aretha Franklin was like the Stax or Atlantic darling, there was another incredibly talented vocalist, female vocalist, who was shelved. And who was that again?
Betty LaVette.
Okay, yeah.
So now she's a thing. Like, she has had a latter-day career.
That's so great.
Yeah, but she recorded an album, I think it was 70 or 71, called Child of the 70s, and on Atlantic, and it's a stunning record. But it literally was like, we've already got one. We've got our Queen of Soul. We're good. Yeah.
And then and we literally just talked about this and I forget, but what happened with Diana Ross and then Gladys Knight?
So I think this is like family lore a little
Oh,
bit,
okay,
but
okay.
I think it's totally true.
Okay.
My folks be talking, but from what I don't think there's ever been any type of documentary, but this is stuff I grew up with.
Yeah.
Which first of all, and I feel free to, if you know stuff that I don't know, but I'm pretty sure this is true, but the first Jackson 5 record, it says Diana Ross presents the Jackson 5,
yeah.
and with the story of like she discovered them, and the true story is it was Gladys Knight.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, but it's
wow.
like which name are you gonna put on this record?
Yeah.
And just the scuttlebutt that I've heard is that the only person at Motown that Diana Ross was envious of was Gladys Knight. And because of that, they didn't give her the good songs. And if you check out those Motown albums, Gladys Knight, it's like, you mean like she heard it through the grapevine. Like she's the first one that recorded that.
Wow.
And Marvin took it and made it that. But it's like, there's some great stuff on there, but it's because Gladys Knight made it great. Like it's she didn't get the you listen to that, it's like, oh, that's going straight to the top kind of thing. Freedom Train, Friendship Train, whatever. But I think their last Motown album, or one of the last ones, was Neither One of Us. Wants to be the first to say it, but yeah, she bounced and went to the Buddha label, and that's when the big hits came. That's when Midnight Train to Georgia. I used my imagination.
Yeah, so that's less documented. But I mean, the scuttlebutt that Shawn was hearing because his dad was literally in the music industry. Like,
I think it's some legit stuff.
Yeah,
because even the story my dad had told me about Harold Melvin like really having a problem with Teddy Pendergrass, like taking over the group.
Oh.
And that always been like, just something your dad tells you. But there was a couple years ago, it was maybe like 5 years ago, and WXPN had some kind of a special, and I forgot. I don't know if they were pulled up an interview with Harold Melvin or someone they were interviewing him, and he told the exact same story.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. It was when I was working at the farm, and I was like on my phone, I'm listening to XPN, and I was like, oh my God, I know that story. Like I can tell this. So I think there's some. Yeah,
that has some credibility.
But yeah. So
But yeah, so I don't know. Just that idea of that scarcity mentality of like, well, only one person from this marginalized group. Yeah. Like there's only room for one.
That's how it is.
It is, yeah. But it's just interesting how, like, despite it being, an all black label, it's like there still was an element of that in regards to gender. Yeah.
It's and there's some ego there. I mean, it's like, I'm sure, it's like, sorry, I loved it. I loved Diana Ross.
Me too.
But Gladys can.
Yeah,
oh
I can understand
God.
being threatened, and then like your foothold in the music industry feeling so shaky to begin with, because only recently this music crossed over. Like it, I kind of get
all
it.
the toxic crap, because even because actually Gladys Knight and the Pips are on Summer Soul.
That's right.
Yeah, and like, sorry, like Gladys Knight was gorgeous. Like she was absolutely beautiful. And it's like I could just if you're I could just like, who the hell is this and who signed her? It's like, she has got to go.
Yep.
But
it's a shame, but yeah.
So I was gonna just quickly, because we've been talking for a long time, just kind of move on into like one of the things I feel like has been forgotten, and there are some great like just note down all the documentaries we're talking about, because there's some incredible documentaries about just Black music in every way, shape, or form.
Sly and the Family Stone, that one's excellent too.
Oh my gosh, the Sly doc. That's right. Yes,
that's really good.
I was thinking of the one about disco.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it was a PBS documentary. I think it's like 4 parts, and it's unbelievable. But the reason I touched on that is, if you listen to Philadelphia International recordings, whatever, you can't not hear the blueprint of disco. Yeah, those strings, those bass lines.
Yep.
Just even the length of songs, like some of the songs, just like the fade is endless.
Yeah, it's like meant for the club where just to like dance on into the next song.
There's a meme I forgot to send you of like a cat's paw on a over a guy's hand on like a mixing board kind of thing. And it says like that's enough reverb.
Oh my God.
But like I feel the same thing. It's like you can pull the faders down now.
That's so funny.
You can start fading the song out now.
Nope,
It's like, oh my God.
Let it run.
Yeah, seriously. Like especially those Harold Melvin albums. Like it's just they're endless. And so, the reason I brought up the PBS thing is I'm not sure. I think they do talk about Philly International, but you can't not hear the blueprint of disco in those songs. And we'll have another episode about disco.
Like Papa Was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's Motown, but still.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
But still, it's an endless song.
It is, yeah. Like, and you know, once one major label starts doing things a certain way, I'm sure that influences.
Yeah. There's actually the Motown acts, they were so funny with disco because they were being encouraged to, you know, to make a disco song. And I know it's specifically Marvin and Diana Ross were like, if we're going to do a disco song, we're doing it our own way. And so, you know, Marvin's was Got to Give It Up.
Yeah.
Which, like, essentially, like, it isn't, except that it just grew, like, you know, it doesn't have all the staples of, like, it doesn't, you know, but it's like, damn, you know. And Diana Ross's was Love Hangover, which starts off as, like, a ballad.
Yeah.
And it also, like, kicks into this thing. It's like, there's, like, two parts of it kind of thing. And so it's like, and they're both bops, but it's like, you know, we're going to do it our own way. And of course, you know, then when she links up with the guys from Chic, Nile Rodgers, with the,
that's right.
Yeah, the Diana album.
Upside Down.
Yes. And,
I'm Coming Out.
Yeah. Just unbelievable. But yeah, we'll do an episode just on disco, but like, as we were talking before recording this, which I hope there's still battery in there. Yeah, like, when you transition, like, disco, once you get into the 80s, there was a weird moment in the 80s where two very important people did such a good job of fusing soul and funk with pop that it kind of, in a way, for a while, ended soul music.
Yeah, it's like all the soul almost shifted into pop music. And it's been a pretty enduring influence, I think.
And so the two names I'm talking about is Prince and Michael Jackson. And so we'll start with Mike first because, you know, he was already, when he started doing solo stuff in 77, 78, whenever Off the Wall came out. I mean, he'd been doing solo stuff since the Jackson 5, but I'm specifically talking about Off the Wall. And, you know, him with Quincy Jones, that magic combination. And it's like, it's soul music. It's just, anyway, if you have a heartbeat, you will dance to that shit.
Yeah.
And then, you know, once you get to Thriller, which, you know, it's just a perfect, you know, just, what's the word when you like just blend, whatever, of, you know, soul and pop and rock. And it's just, you know, you don't know where one begins and one ends. And, you know, Prince did the exact same thing. Like, you know, when he started out and some, you know, that first album, there's... Low battery. Hey.
Oh.
Hey.
Okay. That was the audio.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
You know, Prince's first album, it's like, there's a funk song, there's an acoustic ballad, there's a rock song, there's, you know, and, you know, you could tell, like, he was probably being encouraged to be like, hey, we know you can do this, but they can't handle this. So it's like, why don't we, like, you know, so like that second album was a little more leaning, just like kind of funk soul kind of thing, whatever. There's still a rock song on there. And the third album is like a pop rock record, Dirty Mind. And Controversy, still kind of that funk pop-ish kind of, you know, it's like, I don't know what this is. But by 1999, just, you know, he just seamlessly merged funk, soul, pop, rock, dance into one thing.
1999, which came out
in 83.
Okay, just
82.
Just clarifying.
Yeah, sorry.
The year 1999.
Yes.
Yeah.
Came out in 82. And there was a 2-year gap between that and Purple Rain, which is like just, you know, I mean, yeah, however you want to, you know, it's a weird thing to say, but like Purple Rain to me, like that with Thriller came out almost around the same time, like ended soul music. You know, and then you have Tina Turner, who essentially, you know, was playing rock.
Yeah.
Lionel Richie had, which also Commodores and Lionel were on Motown.
Yes.
And, you know, just this pop crossover, you know, and yeah, it's just the biggest black artist of the 80s were playing pop music. And then the other major black music art in the 80s was hip hop. And so it's like, where's the funk? Where is it? You know, and so, yeah, and it was like that for a while. It's like, you know, Prince actually, even there's a song, I think it's on Love Sexy, where in the middle, oh gosh, like in the middle of a song, you hear him say like, "What happened to the bass guitar?"
Huh.
And I think it's just a little like, "Hey, yeah, like where's the funk?"
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, but then I don't know where these guys came from, but right about like 92, 93, Michelle Cello put out Plantation Lullabies, and like within a year span, and then Erykah Badu with Baduism, and Maxwell's Urban Hang Suite, and Brown Sugar by D'Angelo, and it was like, okay, like it's like it's back, and just like funk. Yeah, it's almost like they all were listening to There's a Riot Going On, and some of the Electric Miles Davis, and just like this stuff, and some Funkadelic, and along with some Marvin Gaye and some Stevie, and they were young as hell. Be like, what happened to this music? Can we do it? Can we, and yeah, and live musicians playing in the studio, and like very few synths, and yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned Michelle Cello first, because that's just like, she's such an important musician, but two, she kind of did a Miles Davis where she's like, I'm gonna kind of create. I mean, she essentially did like that neo soul that most of my contemporaries, my peers know. Like, she kind of started that with Plantation Lullaby.
That was the first album.
And then she bounced. She like she just like explored other genres, which if you listen to the first episode, that's exactly what Miles Davis did.
Let's do the cool, and you guys got this. I'm gonna do something else.
You guys
now.
Keep it going. I'm gonna go do this other thing.
Her discography is so lengthy. Was it like 13 some 15? So many albums. Yeah, and it's like, so what does she do? So what's her sound? And it's like,
what doesn't she do?
It's this Michelle Cello. I she's on Blue Note right now, but I cannot put her two Blue Note albums in jazz, because they're not, like, they really are neo soul.
And that's, which ones do you have?
The most recent one, the
No More Water.
Yeah, No More Water, the James Baldwin one, and then one before that. The instrument. It's like named after an instrument that she's using.
Oh yeah, I can't remember the name of that, but that's really good.
And it's so true. And
so neo soul. And that has kind of kicked off a lot of music that we, I think it's just kind of everywhere now. Like we talked about Ray,
and Olivia Dean.
And, for sure. Yeah.
Who else? I mean, you have, like, Amy Winehouse definitely comes out of listening to, but I think also with the neo soul movement, it brought back some names that had been lost. Like, I think, Donny Hathaway was a name that, if you weren't in the community, you didn't know Donny Hathaway. And with them constantly citing him, Amy Winehouse is always citing him. And
that's really cool.
Yeah. And so just these artists that just, would have kind of been lost, they were the reference points for these guys. And just a lot of, I think Great Time definitely comes out of neo soul.
They did that song that was everywhere for a while, Colors.
Oh, Black Pumas.
Yes.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, with the rock blend, but definitely just that vintage kind of soul kind of thing. Al Green's got. Gosh, there's another Al Green who was on an offshoot label or whatever.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we were trying to think of others.
Yeah, but no, definitely, and a lot of the young jazz cats, you can tell, and the whole Soulquarium thing kind of came out of neo soul. That group that did it was at the same time they recorded Electric Lady. It was Voodoo, Common like Water for Chocolate. Mama's Gun, and the Roots. It all falls apart.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and just like thank God for the neo soul movement, because it's like super influential, and just saying the continuum of soul music, and it's again like I can't keep the Olivia Dean record in my store. Yeah, I can't keep it in my store. I have 2 copies right now, and they're gonna be gone by tomorrow probably. But soul maintain, and then we'll do a disco thing, but it's like. What's cool about black music, soul music, and I don't want to say black music, it's like everything's our music, rock, everything, but like soul and R&B is like nothing gets left behind. Like if you think it's like, oh, but disco, no. Like you hear disco constantly.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the arrangements, the instruments are different, but like the elements are definitely
yeah.
We'll save that for the next episode.
And
yeah.
just and hip, just everything. You talk about like the last poets and things like that, and you hear that in hip hop and like. Yeah, nothing. There's no point. Oh my gosh, Leon Bridges.
Oh yeah,
yes,
for sure.
Yeah, I knew someone was missing up like the classic soul kind of thing. And that's the cool thing is like right now, in current music, you can walk in my store and find in like the current bin something that points directly at Sam Cooke, Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, Al Green, Roberta. There's so many names like Roberta Flack. She was on Atlantic, by the way.
Oh, I was wondering about where she fit in. Yeah,
and hence that raw thing.
Yes.
Like there's not, I think later on in the kind of the disco era, she had some strings and stuff, whatever, and eventually some synths. But like those first like couple albums,
they're just so intimate. Like that's something I really do love about Roberta Flack, like the early recordings. Yeah.
So we've talked a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Just the evolution of soul, and hopefully I learn something every time we talk about this. You're always like, Anna must be sick of hearing me talk. Like, no, there's always more that comes out, and I'll forget half of it anyway, so I'll need to be retold. So thank you for sharing.
Oh, sure, and I thank you for, like, when we first met, like, I hadn't heard Mama's Gun. You played that
Which is so nuts to me. That's literally one of my favorite albums.
It was kind of the whole thing is, like, with Bodoism, it was so damn good. Mm-hmm. I kind of didn't know what else to, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can go. It's like, this is just so, it's like,
That's Erykah Badu also. Like, you don't know if she can go any further, and then she does. It's like on just a different plane. Yep. Yeah.
And I'm throwing one last name out there. And as far as, like, all the things rolled into one, Lauryn Hill.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Soul, R&B, reggae, hip hop, like everything. Yeah. And just,
Yep.
It's a fun pool to play in if you're a musician.
Yeah.
Producer, singer, songwriter, like there's such a rich pool to draw from. So all right, we should bust out of here.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. Like us, follow us, comment, all the things. Later.